Hello students, this video is for second year students, fourth semester textbook, and in this video I'll be discussing the summaries of lessons. You have fourth, fifth and sixth units. So in each unit you have two lessons. So we'll be talking about 6 lessons altogether. So first let me discuss Ozymandias written by Shelley. Here is a picture depicting the status of Ozymandias. So look at this picture first. What can you see here? You may understand that it is a desert and a broken statue is there. Destruction, it denotes destruction. You can see only the head of the broken statue. Two legs are standing. There is nobody around. It looks like a desert. You might have a lot of ideas looking at this pic. So if you observe this pic and then go to the summary of the poem, you will have an image in your mind. So that is the main reason for showing this picture here. So coming to the summary of Ozymandias, Percy Bysshe Shelley was a British writer who is considered as one of the major English romantic poets. Shelley is a radical in his poetry as well as in his political and social views. He did not achieve much fame during his lifetime, but recognition of his achievements in poetry grew steadily following his death. He became an important influence on subsequent generation of poets. So when you're writing essay, you have to write introduction about the author first. So in this paragraph, we are talking about Percy Bysshe Shelley. You understand that he is an English romantic poet, and he is not conventional. He is radical in his views, and that is the main reason why his poetry was not recognized during his lifetime. He was expelled from his university because of his radical political and social views. So his recognition grew after his death. He had an early death. So coming to the poem Ozymandias, the poet met a traveler. The traveler tells the poet about the broken statue in the desert. Now recollect the statue that you have seen in the picture earlier. So there is a broken statue in the desert. ఏడారిలో ఒక స్టాచ్యూ, పగిలిపోయిన స్టాచ్యూ ఉంది. అది చూస్తే ఏదో పీరియడ్ నుంచి తీసుకొచ్చిన స్టాచ్యూ అలా అనిపిస్తుంది. ఇట్ ఈస్ అన్ ఏన్షియంట్ స్టాచ్యూ, నాట్ అ న్యూ స్టాచ్యూ. ఇట్స్ dilapidated, destroyed. He says that statue is made up of stone in an old land. Moreover, it stands on legs only. You can see only legs standing firm, but head is broken, body is not visible. The upper body was destroyed, thus it has no head, neck and limbs. Furthermore, the face of the statue lay nearby on the sand. The same was damaged and destroyed by the passage of time. So there may be many reasons for the destruction of the statue. It can be the result of a war, it can be a natural disaster, it can be due to the passage of time. It was half sunk in sand. Also, it showed a sign of anger and displeasure. So if you see at the face of the statue, you can see that it's not happy. Its lips were wrinkled. So it's the expression indicates that there is a frown on its face. There was an expression of hostility on its face. Also, his face depicted that he was a dominating king. He has no feeling for other people. Moreover, the statue depicted his passion to survive even after his death. So, main reason for installing the statue on the desert was to remember this king even after his death. But see the stature of the statue. Even the statue is broken, so nothing surpasses time. The artist has carved the expressions of the king in the statue very well. One could easily see the rough behavior of the king in the statue's expression. The poet praises the sculptor. He has perfectly copied the minutest expression and wrinkles on the king's face. So the sculptor has done an excellent work, but even then it could not withstand the passage of time. It has broken, and on the statue you can see the words engraved. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look upon my works, ye mighty, and despair. These were written at the bottom of the statue. The king announced himself as the mightiest. He thought that he was equivalent to power, so nobody could destroy his power and his fame. He wanted other kings to feel belittled in front of him. నేనే గొప్ప, నా ముందు ఇంకా ఎవరు లేరు, మిగతా వాళ్ళంతా తక్కువ అన్నట్టు. He was very dominant. However, the poet says that everything got destroyed and damaged with the passage of time. The broken pieces of the statue were only lying around. Also, the desert was very vast. The statue could be seen nowhere. The king was egoistic. Also, he was filled with pride. But now, after a very long time, there is no trace of the king Rameses. So, Rameses అనేది actual name of Ozymandias. So, మనం బ్రతికినంతసేపు మనం ఏమనుకుంటాము, మనమే గొప్ప అనేది అనుకుంటాము. కానీ వీ హ్యావ్ అన్ ఎండ్. అవర్ లైఫ్ కమ్స్ టు అన్ ఎండ్, అండ్ ఆఫ్టర్ దట్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఓన్లీ యువర్ కైండ్ యాక్ట్స్ దట్ విల్ బీ రిమెంబర్డ్. సో మీరు ఎన్ని హార్ట్స్ టచ్ చేసామనేది మాత్రమే అందరికీ గుర్తుంటుంది. మీరు తెచ్చుకున్న మనీ, మీ వెల్త్, nobody cares about all those things. So his power is forgotten now. Nobody is remembering his glory, his power. Even his statue was gone. So that is the state of human beings. This tells us that we should never be boastful, egoistic, and feel proud of ourselves. We all have limited time in this mortal world. We should not live our lives for earning name and fame. They are unattainable. The more we earn, even more we desire. So డబ్బు మన చేతికి వస్తే ఇంకా కావాలి అన్నట్టే ఉంటుంది. సో హ్యూమన్ బీయింగ్స్ ఆర్ గ్రీడీ. సో డోంట్ రన్ ఆఫ్టర్ మెటీరియల్ పర్స్యూట్స్, డోంట్ రన్ ఆఫ్టర్ మనీ, డోంట్ రన్ ఆఫ్టర్ ప్లెజర్, ఎవ్రీథింగ్ ఎట్ అ minimum. On the contrary, we should live a generous and humble life which is full of compassion and love. So love sustains, compassion, kindness sustains, but not your power, not your money, not your fame. So that is what Ozymandias tells us. Second lesson is The Lottery Ticket, written by Anton Chekhov. So this is The Lottery Ticket, written by the famous Russian writer Anton Chekhov. You have a couple here. They are not very rich, but poor. They have minimum expenditure and they are happy and contented with their kind of life. But suddenly one day they get lottery. They think that they get lottery, but then that is not real. We understand it at the end of the story. So they imagine a lot of things, and their negative feelings also come out when they get money unexpectedly. So హార్డ్ వర్క్ చేయకుండా చేతిలో మనీ వస్తే ఎట్లా ఉంటుంది, అదంతా ఎట్లా తినాలనేదే ఆలోచిస్తాం. సో ఆ అబ్బాయికి అసలే ఆ మనీ మొత్తం ఆయననే స్పెండ్ చేయాలని ఉంది. ఆయన భార్యకి అసలే ఇవ్వడానికి ఇంట్రెస్ట్ లేదు. యాక్చువల్లీ లాటరీ వచ్చినది భార్యకి, కానీ అది ఆయన పట్టించుకోవట్లేదు. ఆమె అమౌంట్ అయినా అది నాదే అన్నట్టు గొప్పగా ఫీల్ అవుతున్నాడు. ఆమె ఎట్లా అనుకుంటుంది, నాకే కదా లాటరీ వచ్చినది, నేను ఆయనకి ఎందుకు ఇవ్వాలా, నేనే స్పెండ్ చేయాలని. సో ఇద్దరికి ప్లాన్స్ ఉన్నాయి, కానీ ఈ ప్లాన్స్ అంతా వాళ్ళు ఇమాజిన్ చేసిన తర్వాత ఏం రియలైజ్ అవుతుంది, ఎండ్కి అసలే లాటరీ రాలేదు అనేది అర్థమవుతుంది. లాటరీ నంబర్ న్యూస్ పేపర్లో చదివినప్పుడు ఒక నంబర్ చదవకుండా వదిలేశారు, ఆ నంబర్ చూస్తే అది తప్పు అవుతుంది. ఓకే, సో దట్ ఈస్ ద crux of the story. Now we'll read the summary, and then once I explain the summary, it will be easy for you to learn. Anton Chekhov was a Russian playwright and physician. His career as a playwright produced 4 classics: His best short stories are appreciated by lots of writers and critics. Chekhov was a physician by profession. Chekhov's lottery ticket is about a middle class man named Ivan. One day he reads the newspaper and tells his wife that the first few numbers of the winning lottery number are the same as the lottery ticket that she has taken. Excited, they each fantasize about how they would spend the money, but their thoughts soon shift and become hateful. So initially they are very happy, they are very excited, but once money gets into their head, they become so greedy and hateful. Both of them imagines how the winnings will negatively change their spouse. Their plans are interrupted when they notice that the winning lottery number is one number different from Ivan's wife's ticket. Realizing that they don't win anything, they resume their ordinary lives. Ivan Dmitrik is a middle class man who lives with his family. In the beginning of the story, he is seen happy as he sits on the sofa reading the paper. సో వాళ్ళకు వచ్చిన మినిమం అమౌంట్తో వాళ్ళు చాలా కంటెంటెడ్గా హ్యాపీగా ఉంటే, కానీ సడన్గా అంత అమౌంట్ వచ్చినప్పుడు వాళ్ళకి ఏం చేయాలో అర్థం కావట్లేదు. వాళ్ళలో ఉన్న నెగిటివ్ ఫీలింగ్స్ అంతా బయటకు వస్తుంది. Ivan notices that the first number is indeed the same as the ticket that his wife has taken. They spend the next few minutes dreaming about a new house and traveling. Both the husband and wife begin making plans for spending the money. They are so excited at the thought of winning all the money. They are smiling and dreaming about what they will do with the money. Likewise, the wife begins thinking that her husband will be after all her money. So they become very selfish. They become very possessive of their money. They don't want to share it with their spouses. After all, it is all her money. She begins to hate him for desiring her money. After making all the plans, the husband finally looks into the newspaper and sees the number. Now they understand that they didn't win the lottery. Their imaginations and future plans suddenly disappear from their mind, and they are thrown back to their mundane, real world. Next is My Last Duchess, written by the Victorian poet Robert Browning. It's a famous poem written by Robert Browning. It was published in a book of poems named Dramatic Lyrics, and it is a dramatic monologue. Means one person is continuously speaking about a particular topic. Here the topic is his wife, Duchess, and Last Duchess. My Last Duchess. This poem is a dramatic monologue in which speaker addresses alone the stage in the presence of a silent listener. So the listener is not speaking anything. In My Last Duchess, the poet doesn't address the reader himself. The scene unfolds through monologue of the speaker. Only one person is speaking, and it is called monologue. You may be familiar with dialogue. Two people will be speaking in dialogue, and here it is only one person. The Duke's monologue shows his psychological state and his treatment with his former Duchess. In his poem, the Duke of Ferrara talks to a silent listener who is one of his guests. He draws his attention towards the painting of former Duchess who is now dead. So there are a few visitors in Duke's house. So he is Duke of Ferrara and he is introducing his dead wife to the guest. So there is a big painting over there of the Duchess. The painting hangs on the wall of his private art gallery. The Duke tells the listener that its artist Fra Pandolf worked hard to make it a piece of wonder, and now it is there in front of them. So the name of the painter is Fra Pandolf. He has done a beautiful work and it's very much realistic. You don't feel it is a painting. It's lifelike. So you feel that Duchess is standing over there. It seems that it's not the painting but the Duchess herself standing alive in front of them. The Duke invites the listener to sit down and ask him to look at the painting and examines its art of wonder closely. So he is inviting all the guests to observe the painting very closely and enjoy the aesthetics. The Duke tells the listener that he told him the name of the artist purposefully because he asked himself. He knows the painting is a masterpiece. Whoever sees it wishes to know about its artist. So it is that beautiful and everyone obviously will ask about the painter. They want to know who filled this painting with depth and passion and gave it a lively look. The Duke also tells him that whoever sees his painting turns towards him with surprise. They want to ask something, but they dare not speak in front of their Duke. So Duke reads their faces and knows what they actually want. He himself explains the art of wonder to them. So the people who have seen the painting looks at the Duke with a kind of suspicion. So the Duke has understood the reason for their suspicion. He thinks that the people who looked at the wonder connected the Duchess with the painter. They were suspicious about the look of the Duchess. The Duke then explains the painting of his Duchess. He tells the listener that the smile and the blush that he can see on the face of the Duchess in the painting was not because of his presence. So he was not the reason for her happiness. It may have been the painter. He guesses the reason behind her smile. He says that she smiled when Fra Pandolf praised her beauty. So these are all his thinking, not reality. Maybe he admired her beauty by saying that he was unable to recreate her beauty. He might have praised her and she may be very happy to listen to his praise. The Duke then criticizes his Duchess by saying that she always took all the stuff as a courtesy and she thought it was something enough to make her happy. So she was an innocent soul who used to get happy at little things. He says that heart of his Duchess could be easily won and it was very easy to impress her with anything. Whenever the Duchess looked, she liked and praised everything. He further tells the listener about the nature of his former wife. Everything was equal for her. Everybody was equal for her. The gift of jewelry that he gave her to wear on her chest made her happy. In the same way, she became happy looking at the sunset in the west. So she used to be happy for small things. Even the bow of cherries from the orchard brought to her by a fool inspired her. She considered everything alike. Moreover, the white mule on which she rode around the terrace made her happy in a similar way. So, Duke did not like all these things. She treated everything equally and praised in the same way. He wanted to be special, but he did not get that special attention. The real problem with Duke is that she had no special appreciation for the gifts that Duke gave her. He asked her to change, but she did not make an effort to change her behavior. He says, even if there were chances that she could change herself for him, still she never dared to discuss this thing with her. Her nice behavior with everyone grew day by day, so he gave commands to kill her. He didn't like this behavior. He asked her to change, but then she didn't change. So she commanded to kill her. He commanded to kill her. All her smiles stopped then. He again points towards the painting and says, now there she stands in the painting as if she is still alive. The Duke is going to marry soon. The poem points to the objectification of women in those days. So there is no effort to understand the woman, but then he is very much suspicious. He thinks a lot and then acts in alignment with his doubts and suspicion. Next is The Doll's House, written by Kathleen Mansfield. So this is a beautiful gift, doll's house, that is given to three sisters. So these three sisters are well placed in the society. They belong to higher class and they are renowned in the society. So this lesson discusses class conflict in particular. So let's read the summary and then try to understand the story. Kathleen Mansfield Murray was a New Zealand writer and critic who was an important figure in the modernist movement. Her works are celebrated across the world and have been published in 25 languages. She often wrote in third person and portrayed elements of her personal experiences. Doll's House, published in 1922, is a short story written in third person through an omniscient narrator. Omniscient means ever present. The main themes are class prejudice and social hierarchy. Hierarchy means you have higher class, then middle class, lower class. So that is a hierarchy. The story starts with Mr. Hay. He was a guest at Bernal's residence. He sent a lovely large doll's house as a gift to the family's 3 daughters, Isabel, Lottie and Kezia. It smelled of paint. It's very new, brand new. But the decorations and details were perfect and the girls were thrilled at the gift, seeing the gift. The younger sister Kezia especially loved the little amber lamp with the white globe standing in the middle of the dining table, so that attracted her the most. The Bernal sisters were already popular at school as they were from a family that was relatively well off in their location. So their family was known to the people in the society. In fact, their mother disapproved of the school the girls had to mix with the children of grocers and milkmen. So అందరితో కలవడం అంటే వాళ్ళ అమ్మకి ఇష్టం లేదు, అందుకే స్కూల్లో పంపించడానికి కూడా హెజిటెన్సీతో పంపిస్తాము. అక్కడ మిల్క్ మెన్ది పిల్లలు వస్తారు, గ్రోసర్స్ది పిల్లలు వస్తారు. సో వాళ్ళతో కలిస్తే వీళ్ళ క్యారెక్టర్ చేంజ్ అయిపోతుందేమో అనేది ఆమె భయం. ఆమె ఒక హై క్లాస్ ఉమెన్. సో మిడిల్ క్లాస్ వాళ్ళతో, లో క్లాస్ వాళ్ళతో ఇంటరాక్ట్ అవ్వడం ఆమెకు ఇష్టం లేదు. However, she allowed the sisters to bring their friends home 2 by 2 to see the doll's house. When Isabel explained the doll's house to their friends, Kezia felt she was not giving enough importance to the little lamp. సో ఇద్దరిని తీసుకురండి ఇంటికి, ఆ కొత్త డాల్స్ హౌస్ ఎవరు చూడలేదు కదా, ఎవరి దగ్గర కూడా లేదు అలాంటి ఒక గిఫ్ట్, అందుకే ఇద్దరిని తీసుకురండి అని అమ్మ పర్మిషన్ ఇచ్చింది. The only girls who did not participate in this excitement were Lil and Else Kelvy because they belonged to the lower strata of the society. They sat outside the circle and listened in without saying a word. Those 2 sisters were social outcasts. Their mother was a washerwoman and their father was allegedly in prison. So society వాళ్ళకి ఏం వాల్యూ ఇవ్వలేదు. వాళ్ళ నాన్న ప్రిజన్లో, జైల్లో ఉన్నాడు, వాళ్ళ అమ్మ వాషర్ ఉమెన్. సో వాళ్ళని ఇంటికి పిలవాలంటే కూడా వీళ్ళ అమ్మ నాన్న అసలే ఒప్పుకోలేదు. మెనీ పేరెంట్స్ ఇంక్లూడింగ్ ద బర్నల్ సిస్టర్స్ forbid their children from mingling with them. As days passed, the Bernal's doll house became the talk of the school. Everyone had visited and admired it and discussed it eagerly in class the next day. అందరూ పోయి చూసి వచ్చారు. ఇప్పుడు మిగిలినది వీళ్ళిద్దరే ఉన్నారు. వాళ్ళంతా చాలా గొప్పగా ఈ డాల్స్ హౌస్ గురించి మాట్లాడుతుంటే వీళ్ళకి మాత్రం అర్థం కాకుండా అందరినీ చూసుకొని ఒకలాగా కూర్చుంది. As usual, the Kelvis sat on the outside looking in. Kezia's mother did not allow them to be in their house. వాళ్ళని తీసుకురావడం అంటే అసలే ఎవరు అలౌ చేయట్లేదు, బికాస్ they are not considered respectable in the society. One day when Kelvis were passing by Kezia's house, she invited Kelvis home. Lil and Else were able to get a view of the doll's house and even briefly saw its interior. But Kezia's aunt Beryl appeared and angrily shooed them away. సో ఒకరోజు వీళ్ళు ఇద్దరు పిల్లలు వాళ్ళ ఇంటి ముందు నుంచి వెళ్తున్నప్పుడు కెజియా పిలిచింది వీళ్ళిద్దరిని, వచ్చి చూసి పోండి, ఎలాగో ఇక్కడ దాకా వచ్చారు కదా, కమ్ అండ్ సీ ద హౌస్ అని చెప్పుకొని తీసుకుపోతుంది. పిల్లలకి తెలియదు కదా. అట్లా తీసుకెళ్తే వాళ్ళ ఇంట్లో ఆంటీ చూసింది, బాగా తిట్టింది, ఎందుకు వీళ్ళని ఇంటికి పిలిచారు అని చెప్పి. The girls ran out of sight and sat on a drain pipe and gazed into distance in silence. They had already forgotten the scolding of Aunt Beryl. Their mind was fixed on the doll's house. వాళ్ళు ఇప్పటి వరకు అలాంటి ఒక గిఫ్ట్ చూడలేదు కాబట్టి ఆంటీ తిట్టినదంతా మర్చిపోయింది ఆ పిల్లలు పాపం. వాళ్ళు ఆ డాల్స్ హౌస్ గురించి మాత్రం ఆలోచిస్తున్నారు. ఈ తిట్టడం అనేది కూడా వాళ్ళ లైఫ్లో కొత్తదేం కాదు. వాళ్ళు చాలామంది దగ్గర నుంచి అలాంటి ట్రీట్మెంటే ఎదుర్కొని వచ్చారు కాబట్టి ఇట్ ఈస్ లైక్ పార్ట్ అండ్ పార్సల్ ఆఫ్ దియర్ డే, బట్ ఇట్ ఈస్ injustice. In the story, we also see the way the children do not hesitate to bully and mock their classmates of a lower social sphere. This shows the normalization of the treatment based on hierarchy as well as the influence of society on the children's mindset. So పెద్దవాళ్ళలో అనేది కాదు, ఈవెన్ చిన్న చిన్న పిల్లల్లో కూడా ఈ క్లాస్ కాన్ఫ్లిక్ట్ అనేది ఎంత ఇన్హెరెంట్గా ఉంది అనేది దీని నుంచి మనకు అర్థమవుతుంది. నెక్స్ట్ ఇస్ హోప్ ఇస్ ద థింగ్ విత్ ఫెదర్స్. It is written by Emily Dickinson. She was an American poet. She was little known during her lifetime. She has since been regarded as one of the most important figures in the American poetry. Hope is a Thing with Feathers is a popular poem by American poet Emily Dickinson. Hope is transformed into a strong-willed bird. So hope అనే దాన్ని పర్సానిఫై చేసుకొని ఒక బర్డ్తో కంపేర్ చేసుకొని చెప్తున్నారు. It lives within the human soul and sings its song no matter what. Packing is written by Jerome K. Jerome. He is an English humorist writer. He writes travelogues. His one of the famous books is Three Men in a Boat, and this packing is taken from Three Men in a Boat. It describes humorously the incident that takes place when narrator and his two friends get engaged in packing their things. So the narrator is very confident about his packing skills, and he says his friends that he tells his friends that he will pack the whole thing before they start for the expedition. Once the narrator and his two friends decided to go on a trip, the narrator felt that he knew packing better than his friends, so he told them to leave the job entirely at him. George and Harris accepted the offer and relaxed while the narrator was busy in packing the bag. But the narrator was not happy to see both of his friends. నేనేం చేస్తాను అని చెప్పేటప్పుడు ఆయన ఏమనుకున్నారు, ఆయన లీడ్ చేస్తారు, మిగతా వాళ్ళు హెల్ప్ చేస్తారు అని. కానీ ఆయన చేస్తారు కదా అని అనుకొని వాళ్ళు అసలు ఏం హెల్ప్ చేయలేదు. సో ఈయన గ్లూమీగా అయిపోయారు, కానీ ప్యాకింగ్ చేస్తున్నారు. What he actually intended was that, being the best of them, he would boss the job and his friends would do something unimportant under his direction. The narrator started packing. It took him a longer time than he expected. He again opened the bag and made a frantic search for the toothbrush. So మీకు తెలుసు, ప్యాకింగ్ ఎక్కడైనా పోతున్నప్పుడు ప్యాక్ చేస్తే ఏదో ఒకటో రెండో థింగ్స్ మర్చిపోతారు, మళ్ళీ వెతకాల్సి వస్తుంది, ఒక్కొక్కటి ఎక్కడ పెట్టారు అనేది గుర్తుండదు. అలానే వీళ్ళది కూడా కొంచెం గందరగోళం అయింది. He again opened the bag and made a frantic search for the toothbrush, which he finally found inside a boot. When he had finished, George asked if the soap was in. The narrator got irritated and refused to reopen the bag. So అన్ని ప్యాక్ చేసిన తర్వాత సోప్ ఎక్కడ, టూత్ బ్రష్ ఎక్కడ అనేది గుర్తు రావట్లేదు, వెతుకుతున్నారు వాళ్ళంతా. Now it was the turn of George and Harris to do the rest of the packing, but they too proved themselves immature. వాళ్ళకు కూడా ప్యాకింగ్లో పెద్దగా ఏం ఐడియా లేదు, వాళ్ళు ప్యాక్ చేసినది ఏంటి అనేది కూడా వాళ్ళకు గుర్తుండట్లేదు. ప్యాకింగ్ ఫినిష్డ్ at midnight. All the three friends went to sleep as they got tired. These irritated Jerome so much that he does not pay heed to it and packs the bag anyway. However, to his mistake, he has to reopen it again due to his spectacles being locked inside the bag. So అన్ని ప్యాక్ చేసిన తర్వాత ఆయన స్పెక్స్ ఎక్కడ పెట్టారు అనేది గుర్తులేదు, మళ్ళీ అన్నీ తీయాల్సి వస్తుంది. ప్యాకింగ్ ఇస్ బేస్డ్ ఆన్ ద థీమ్ దట్ రూటీన్ టాస్క్ ఆర్ నాట్ యాజ్ ఈజీ యాజ్ దే సీమ్ టు బీ. ద హ్యూమరస్ అకౌంట్ అమ్యూజెస్ ద రీడర్స్. ఇది యాక్చువల్ షార్ట్ స్టోరీ చదవాలంటే చాలా ఇంట్రెస్టింగ్గా, చాలా కామికల్గా ఉంటుంది. సో యూ రీడ్ ద బుక్. The readers with the chaotic and confusing situations created by the clumsiness of three friends, all of who considered packing to be child's play. ఇదంతా అందరి లైఫ్లో ఉన్నదే. ఇట్ ఈస్ అ రూటీన్ యాక్టివిటీ, కానీ రూటీన్ యాక్టివిటీ అయినా దానికి ఎంత ప్లానింగ్, ఎంత కాన్సన్ట్రేషన్ అవసరము అనేది మనకు అర్థమవుతుంది. ఇంట్లో ఇప్పుడు అమ్మ ప్యాక్ చేస్తుంటే అదంతా అమ్మ మీదనే ఉంటుంది. అలానే నాన్న ప్యాక్ చేస్తుంటే ఎవ్రీథింగ్, ఆల్ ది రెస్పాన్సిబిలిటీ విల్ బీ ఆన్ దట్ వన్ పర్సన్. సో వీ డోంట్ నో హౌ మచ్ అటెన్షన్, హౌ మచ్ ప్లానింగ్ అండ్ కాన్సన్ట్రేషన్ దట్ దే టేక్ to complete the task. So it requires planning, concentration and neatness, otherwise the results are disastrous as well as time consuming. So that's it. Study well and write the exam. All the best.